The walls of a maximum security prison are cold, empty, and built to erase a man's legacy completely. But for Harvey Weinstein, a man who once controlled the dreams and nightmares of an entire industry, those walls have not been enough to shut him up. In the early months of 2026, during a high-stakes retrial interview, the fallen mogul decided to pull one final string. He sat in front of the cameras, his power stripped away, but his poison still very much intact, and said something that would set the entire world on fire. He did not just defend his past. He pointed a finger at the present. With a calculated sneer, he claimed that not everyone he encountered during his powerful years was a victim. Some, he suggested, were active and willing players in the game of ambition. He specifically mentioned the Duchess of Sussex, hinting at secret footage captured by MI6 during a long-forgotten summer in France. It was an explosion that reached far beyond the prison yard, crossing the Atlantic Ocean and shaking the very foundation of the British monarchy and the quiet, comfortable life in Montecito. You are watching Spotlight Zone, the channel that brings you the stories nobody else dares to touch. Hit subscribe right now and turn on your notifications. This one is going to change everything, asterisk asterisk. To understand why a few words from a prisoner could cause this much panic, we have to travel back to an era where Harvey Weinstein was the undisputed king of Hollywood. He was not just a producer. He was a gatekeeper, a man who controlled the very air that aspiring actors breathed. Back in those days, a nod from Harvey meant an Oscar. A frown from Harvey meant your career was finished before it ever really began. His base of operations was often the Cannes Film Festival, a glittering and glamorous event on the French Riviera that served as a high-stakes marketplace of power. Every May, the town of Cannes transforms into a theater of excess. The sun-drenched docks are lined with yachts the size of naval destroyers, and the air is thick with the smell of expensive cigars and quiet desperation. This was Weinstein's world. In the private suites of the Carlton and Majestic hotels, he conducted his business far away from the prying eyes of the paparazzi. It was a world of calculated smiles and transactional handshakes, where the boost he could offer was a tempting song that very few people had the strength to resist. In 2011, the world did not know Meghan Markle as a royal. She was a series regular on the legal drama Suits, a talented woman with enormous drive who was still climbing the ladder toward the A-list. For an actress in her position, Cannes was not a vacation. It was a battlefield of opportunity. The festival is a maze of hierarchies, and Meghan was navigating it with precision. Picture the scene: the Mediterranean heat, the constant flash of cameras, and the overwhelming pressure to network with exactly the right people. Weinstein was the ultimate right person. He represented the locked doors of Hollywood. Rumors from that era suggest that Meghan was a master of every room she entered, always polished, always strategic. She was not just there to attend parties. She was there to find a path to the very top. But while she was scanning the room for opportunity, someone else was scanning it for intelligence. This is the exact moment where the story shifts from a Hollywood drama into a spy thriller. The British Secret Intelligence Service, known as MI6, has a long history of monitoring high-profile international events. Cannes is a gathering point, a rare moment where the world's most powerful people come together in a single and surprisingly vulnerable location. Intelligence agencies are not necessarily interested in actresses, but they are deeply interested in the men who fund the films, the Russian billionaires, the Chinese financiers, and the political power brokers who regularly moved through Weinstein's inner circle. To MI6, Weinstein was a central point of influence. By placing undercover agents inside the hotels as waiters, security staff, or event workers, they could monitor conversations that had serious national security implications. Every handshake and every whispered deal in those private suites was recorded and carefully filed away. Meghan Markle, in her quest for a career boost, became what intelligence people call collateral data. Her interactions were captured, digitized, and stored in a secure archive in London. A ghost in the machine that nobody ever expected to see the light of day. This is Spotlight Zone. Stay with us, because what comes next will genuinely shock you. The alleged tape is not a crude or graphic recording. Its real power lies in its deeply unsettling ambiguity. According to those who claim to have seen the raw MI6 files, the footage captures a 20-minute meeting inside a private suite. The atmosphere is casually exclusive. Meghan is seen moving through the room with a grace that hides the fact that she is very much an outsider in this world. When Weinstein approaches, the entire dynamic of the room changes instantly. He attempts to exert his usual dominance, resting a hand on her arm in a way that signals ownership. But the Duchess-to-be does not flinch. Instead, she is described as skillfully maneuvering the situation with calm control. The audio, reportedly crisp and very clear, captures a conversation that feels like a negotiation between two people who both fully understand the rules of the game they are playing. Weinstein speaks of her unusual presence and a talent that does not play unintelligently. Her response is calm and controlled. Asterisk, nothing is possible without a plan. You can count on me to put in the effort. Asterisk, it is a scene of two people who both know exactly what kind of world they are operating in. To some, it is a story of survival. To others, it is a revelation of relentless ambition. When news of the Weinstein bombshell and the MI6 connection broke in 2026, the silence from the Sussex home in California was absolutely deafening. Prince Harry has spent the last several years positioning himself as his wife's ultimate protector, the man who stood against the vultures of the press and the coldness of the royal institution. But this revelation is different. It does not come from a tabloid. It comes from a historical intelligence record. Sources close to the couple describe Harry as being in a state of burning, uncontrollable rage. But that rage is increasingly being turned inward. He is reportedly struggling to match the story of victimization they have been sharing with the world against the reality of a woman who is a sophisticated and calculating player in a very dangerous industry long before they ever met. It is a basic issue of trust. When a spouse's untold story involves secret intelligence files and a connection to the most notorious predator in Hollywood history, the foundation of any relationship is going to shake. Back in London, the reaction inside the palace has been described as orderly terror. For King Charles III and Prince William, this is a crisis without any manual or playbook. The monarchy is an institution built on the careful management of public image, and the tapes represent a leak they simply cannot control. The nightmare for the palace is the direct involvement of MI6. It forces the public to ask a terrifying question. Did the British government already know about this history before the royal wedding? If they did, why was it buried? If they did not, how did their intelligence completely fail them? The palace is currently in containment mode, trying to prevent the full release of the files while simultaneously distancing the monarchy from the scandals of the Hollywood elite. But the damage to the crown's soft power is already done. The controversy has turned a personal history into a national security issue, making the Sussexes a permanent source of weakness and vulnerability for the king. The financial impact of this controversy has been swift and brutal. By mid-2026, the Sussexes were in the middle of a massive rebranding effort, attempting to launch lifestyle ventures and new media projects. But in the modern world, your brand is the same thing as your reputation, and the name Weinstein is completely radioactive. Even the slightest hint of a transactional history with such a figure is enough to make corporate partners run for the exit. Major Hollywood agencies and charitable organizations are reportedly reevaluating their ties to the couple. Silence from the Sussex camp is being interpreted as an admission of guilt, while a denial risks being proven false if more of the MI6 footage gets leaked. They are trapped in a reputation vacuum where their entire narrative of authenticity and truth is being dismantled by the very past they tried to leave behind. The dream of a post-royal empire is fading, replaced by the harsh reality of a lethal association. As the months of 2026 have moved forward, the tension between London and Montecito has reached a genuine breaking point. The tapes have become a weapon in a silent war of public perception. Intelligence sources suggest that the leak of the footage was not an accident, but a strategic and deliberate detonation. In the world of espionage, secrets are used to exercise leverage. Someone somewhere decided it was time to remind the world that the past is never truly buried. For the Duchess, the very skills that allowed her to navigate the shark tank of Hollywood, her polish, her strategy, her ambition, are now being used to frame her as a cold and cynical player. The fairy tale of the empowered survivor is being overwritten by a story of transactional success. It is a jarring reminder that in the high-stakes game of global power, you are only as safe as your darkest secret. We have to go back to the Majestic Hotel in 2011 to see where it all truly began. In those sun-drenched suites, choices were made that would echo for decades. The young actress who stood in that room could never have imagined that her conversation would one day become a matter of national security for the British Empire. She was simply playing the game by the rules that were given to her. But the rules of Hollywood are not the rules of the monarchy. Hollywood rewards ambition. The monarchy rewards discretion. The tapes represent the violent collision of those two worlds. It is the moment where the glitz of the French Riviera meets the granite coldness of the palace, and the result is a catastrophe that neither side was remotely prepared for. The footage is a ghost that has finally found its way home. The world is now watching a very public reckoning that feels like the final act of a tragedy. The Sussex brand was built entirely on the idea that they were the truth tellers, the brave ones who were willing to expose the darkness of the royal institution. But now they are the ones being exposed. The irony is thick and deeply painful. The accusations that came out of Weinstein's prison cell have forced a global audience to look much more closely at the authenticity they were sold. People are now asking how much of the Meghan and Harry story was a carefully crafted Hollywood strategy. Was the marriage the conclusion of a genuine love story, or the last best move in a career built on calculated ambition? These are questions that no public relations team can answer. The ambiguity of the tapes allows the public to fill in the blanks with their own suspicions, creating a divide that may never fully heal. The role of the palace officials has also come under intense scrutiny. In 2026, 6 separate investigations are reportedly underway to determine exactly how much the royal household actually knew about the MI6 files during the vetting process of 2017. If the intelligence was there, who decided to hide it from the Queen? Was it a desire to avoid embarrassment, or was it a catastrophic and unforgivable oversight? The footage has opened a box of questions about where the British state and the royal family actually overlap. It suggests that the secret ledgers of the intelligence world are far more powerful than the public-facing ledgers of the monarchy. The Sussexes have become a case study in what happens when a modern celebrity enters an ancient institution without fully understanding the level of surveillance that comes along with it. Harvey Weinstein's last desperate move has proven that even a man sitting in ruins can still cause a massive explosion. His goal was never to clear his own name. It was to muddy the waters and drag others down into the murky depths with him. By focusing on one of the most controversial women in the world, he made absolutely sure that his words would be amplified by every single media outlet on the planet. He played puppet master one final time, pulling on the strings of the past to cause maximum chaos in the present. From his prison cell, he managed to make himself a central figure in a royal drama. A kingmaker, even in his complete and total fall. It is a remarkable, if deeply horrific, accomplishment. He knew that the mere mention of the tapes would be enough to cause irreparable damage. And he was absolutely right. The story of the Sussexes has always been presented as a narrative of survival. They told us they fled Britain to save their lives and protect their mental health. But the footage offers a completely different narrative. It suggests that the Duchess was not a victim of a powerful system, but a master of it. It portrays a woman who fully understood the transactional nature of power and was willing to engage with it directly in order to achieve her goals. This alternate story is what makes the leak so completely lethal. It does not have to be graphic to be damaging. It just has to be different from the story they told us. In the world of high-attention media, contradiction is the ultimate hook. The public loves a fall from grace, but they love a revelation of a hidden past even more. As we look toward the end of 2026, the situation in Montecito is one of increasing isolation. The Sussex Empire is fighting a war on two fronts, a legal battle with the media and a deeply private battle with the ghosts of the past. Prince Harry is reportedly attempting to launch a counteroffensive, using his own legal teams to try and suppress the MI6 files. But the dark corners of the British establishment are not easily moved. The files exist, the rumors are constant, and the Can audio is a permanent stain on their public life. They are learning that while you can leave a country, you can never truly leave your own history. The luxury and pleasure of the French Riviera in 2011 has become the slow-acting poison of their 2026 reality. The Can tapes tell the story of what happens when the secret ledgers of Hollywood are torn open by the unblinking eye of a spy agency. It is a tale of ambition, surveillance, and the lethal power of a buried secret. The tragedy of the entire situation is that the full truth may never be completely known. We may never see the uncut footage or hear the full audio. But in the game of public perception, the shadow of a tape is just as powerful as the tape itself. The Duchess of Sussex is now permanently tied to her past, a ghost appearing from the gilded cage of her early career. The modern fairy tale has been replaced by a dark and complicated picture of power, secrets, and survival. And now, as we move deeper into the spring of 2026, the battle has not stayed in the court of public opinion. It has moved into the most secretive courtrooms in all of London. ***. Legal experts have noted an extraordinary and unprecedented level of activity surrounding the national security exemptions. The laws often used to keep MI6 files completely away from public eyes. Prince Harry's legal team is reportedly working around the clock, not just to deny the tape's very existence, but to ensure that if such a file does actually exist, it stays permanently buried under the Official Secrets Act. This has created a deeply paradoxical situation. By fighting so incredibly hard to keep the vault closed, the Sussexes are actually signaling to the entire world that there is something inside worth hiding. In the high-stakes world of British law, this is known as a glow war response, where an agency can neither confirm nor deny the existence of certain records. But in the age of viral social media and 24-hour rolling news cycles, neither confirm nor deny is almost always interpreted by the public as guilty as charged. The 2026 legal landscape is a minefield, where one wrong legal move could trigger a forced public disclosure that would permanently change the history of the British monarchy. Every time a new headline surfaces about these accusations, the fortress walls around Montecito grow higher. But those walls are starting to show very real cracks from the sheer and relentless pressure of international curiosity. While the legal battles rage in London, a completely different kind of war is being fought on the streets of Beverly Hills and in the hills of Montecito. In the industry that Meghan once worked so hard to conquer, the name Harvey Weinstein is far more than just a distant memory. It is a permanent mark of toxicity. In 2026, association by proximity has become the ultimate career killer. Insiders at the major talent agencies report that the Sussex phone has gone very quiet. The A-list dinner parties that were once a regular and celebrated part of their California dream have suddenly become exclusive, in a way that specifically excludes them. The tragedy is that Hollywood has a very short memory for talent, but a very long memory for scandal. If the Can tapes portray the Duchess as a strategic and calculating player rather than an empowered survivor, it fundamentally breaks the trust she has with her audience. Even the most loyal Hollywood allies are reportedly distancing themselves, genuinely afraid that the MI6 connection might bring unwanted government attention and scrutiny into their own private dealings. It is a social exile that is perhaps even more painful than the royal exit itself. A brutal realization that even in the so-called land of the free, you are only as welcome as your latest headline allows you to be. Inside the stone walls of Clarence House, King Charles III is facing a dilemma that would genuinely break any father. On one hand, he sees his son, the boy who once walked behind his mother's coffin, now caught in a web of dark historical shadows. On the other hand, he is the protector of a 1,000-year-old institution that absolutely cannot afford to be dragged into the mud of a Hollywood retrial. By mid-2026, reports suggest that the king has held several crisis meetings with Prince William to discuss what is now being referred to internally as the Sussex problem. The tension between them is visible and palpable. William, ever the practical one, is said to be pushing hard for a complete and total severance, a formal removal of titles to protect the monarchy from the ongoing fallout of the MI6 files. Charles, however, is caught in the emotional crossfire. He knows that if these tapes are ever fully leaked, the damage to Harry's mental state and to the children's future would be completely irreversible. The orderly terror of the palace has shifted from being a public relations strategy into something that now feels like a genuine family tragedy. They are watching a slow-motion disaster unfold in front of them, and for the first time in their long history, the royal family has realized that even their vast power and influence cannot stop a ghost from the French Riviera from speaking its truth. As the global spotlight continues to shine mercilessly on this reckoning, we are left with one very jarring reminder. In the high-stakes game of power, secrets are rarely ever truly private. They are weapons sitting quietly in a drawer, ready to fire at the exact moment of maximum impact. The Con footage is a detonation that has already changed the course of the British monarchy and the lives of the Sussexes forever. The past is never fully buried. It is simply waiting for exactly the right moment to rise again. That was the full story, only on Spotlight Zone. Thank you for walking through this dark and complicated history with us. The world of the royals is never quite what it seems, and the Con tapes are just the latest chapter in a story that is still very much being written. Tell us your thoughts on this shocking revelation in the comments below. And if you are not subscribed to Spotlight Zone yet, do it right now. Hit that notification bell. Because trust us, we are just getting started. See you in the next one.